Hi everyone, I'm Xinyuan. In this video, we're going to look at the chapter in the life of the Buddha that describes his enlightenment. Watching the TV drama and reading the book actually feel very different. When we watch the Buddha TV series, we mostly just enjoy the storyline and the visuals, especially the part about his enlightenment. But a TV show really can't express the depth of the Buddha's inner state. On screen, we just see Siddhartha sitting there. Light starts shining from his head, and then it means he's become a Buddha. In reality, of course, it's not that simple. So let's read the beautiful description from the biography together. Under the Bodhi tree, the ascetic Gautama gathered his deep concentration and turned it inward to observe his own body. He saw that every cell was like a tiny drop of water in an endless river of birth, existence, and death. Within this body, he could not find a single thing that was permanent or truly separate from everything else. Flowing together with the stream of his body was a stream of feelings. Each feeling was like a drop of water. Countless drops were pressed together in the process of rising, existing, and passing away. Some feelings were pleasant, some unpleasant, and some neutral, but none of them lasted. They appeared and disappeared, just as the cells in his body were constantly rising and ceasing. Next, Gautama used his concentration to explore the stream of thoughts that flowed alongside the stream of body and feelings. He saw thoughts arising, staying for a while, and then disappearing, all mixing together and influencing each other. When a person's thoughts are correct and clear, the true nature of all phenomena can easily be seen. But when thoughts are not correct, reality is covered over and cannot be recognized. Most people, he realized, are trapped in endless suffering because of their wrong views. They take what is impermanent to be permanent. They take what has no self-nature to be a solid, independent self. They see what is empty and without true birth or death, as if it were truly born and truly dying. And they divide what cannot really be separated into different, isolated parts. Then Gautama shone his insight onto all the mental states that give rise to suffering for anger, hatred, arrogance, jealousy, craving, and ignorance. His careful, focused awareness burned like the blazing sun. He used this light of awareness to illuminate the true nature of all these negative mental states. He saw that they all arose from ignorance. They were the complete opposite of mindfulness. They were darkness, absence of light. He realized that the key to liberation is to remove ignorance and to go deeply into reality, directly experiencing and realizing it for oneself. In the past, Siddhartha had tried many different ways to get rid of fear, anger, and desire, but those methods only pushed his feelings and emotions down. They did not bring real transformation. Now he understood that since these disturbances all arise from ignorance, once ignorance is ended, all the mental obstacles will naturally dissolve on their own, like shadows disappearing before the rising sun. These profound insights were the fruits of his meditation. He smiled and lifted his head to look at a leaf of the Bodhi tree resting against the blue sky. The way the leaf gently moved in the wind seemed as if it were calling to him. Gazing deeply into the leaf, he clearly saw the presence of the sun and the stars within it. Without the sun, without light and warmth, the leaf could not exist. Seeing this because of that, he also saw the earth, time, space, and consciousness all present in that single leaf. In that very moment, the entire universe was contained in that one leaf. The true nature of the leaf was an amazing miracle. Normally, we think a leaf only begins in spring, when it appears on the tree. But Gautama saw that the leaf had already existed for a very long time in sunshine, in white clouds, in the tree, and in all its causes and conditions. If he could see that the leaf had never truly been born, then he could also see that he himself had never truly been born. Both the leaf and his own body were just manifestations. They had never truly come into existence, and therefore they could never truly be destroyed. With this realization, birth and death, appearance and disappearance, all melted away. The true face of the leaf and of himself was revealed. He realized that the existence of any phenomenon always has the capacity to give rise to other phenomena. The one contains the all, and the all is contained in the one. That leaf and his body were one. Neither of them had any separate, permanent self. Nothing can exist on its own, apart from the rest of the universe. Seeing this interdependence of all phenomena, Siddhartha realized that all worldly dharmas are empty, that nothing has a separate, independent essence. He understood that interdependence and non-self are the keys that open the door of liberation. Thin clouds drifted across the sky, painting a white background behind the translucent Bodhi leaves. He thought, perhaps tonight these white clouds will meet a cold friend and become rain. Clouds are one kind of phenomenon. Rain is another kind. Clouds too are without real birth and death. Gautama reflected, if the cloud understood this truth, then when it became rain falling on high mountains, forests, and rice fields, it would surely sing with joy. His insight lit up the river of his body. Feelings, perceptions, mental formations, and consciousness. Siddhartha now understood that impermanence and non-self are the necessary conditions for life. Without impermanence and non-self, nothing could grow or develop. If a grain of rice were not impermanent and without a fixed self, it could never sprout and become a rice plant. If a cloud were not impermanent and selfless, it could never become rain. If there were no impermanence and no emptiness of self, a child could never grow up to become an adult. So he thought, to truly accept life is to accept impermanence and non-self. He saw that the root of suffering comes from the false view that things are permanent and that there is a separate, solid self. Realizing this, he understood that all phenomena are without real birth and death, without coming and going, without one and many, without inside and outside, without large and small, without pure and impure. The ideas of permanence and self are only false distinctions created by discursive thinking. Once we see clearly the emptiness, true nature of all things, then all mental obstacles can be overcome, and we can be freed from the great wheel of suffering. From one night to the next, Gautama sat in meditation under the Bodhi tree, allowing the light of awareness to shine on his body and mind and on the entire universe. His 5 former companions had left him long ago. Now his fellow practitioners were the forest and the river, the birds, and the millions of insects living in the trees and in the soil. This great Bodhi tree was like a brother to him on the path of practice. The evening star that appeared in the sky whenever he sat down to meditate at night was also his spiritual companion. He often meditated late into the night. The village children usually came to visit him after midday. One day, a child named Shun brought him some milk porridge with honey and Sasti. The cowherd boy brought him an armful of fresh grass. After Sasti left to take the buffalo home, Gautama was suddenly seized by a very deep feeling, a sense that on that very night, he would have a great awakening and realize the path. The previous night, he had already had some unusual dreams. In one dream, he saw himself lying on his side, his knees touching the Himalayas, his left hand touching the shore of the Eastern Sea, his right hand touching the shore of the Western Sea, and both feet resting on the shore of the Southern Sea. In another dream, a lotus as large as a cartwheel grew from beneath his body and rose up to the highest heavens. In a third dream, countless birds of different colors flew toward him from all directions. These dreams all seemed to foretell his soon-to-come great enlightenment. That evening at dusk, Gautama practiced walking meditation by the river. He stepped into the water to bathe. When night fell, he returned to sit under the Bodhi tree. He looked at the fresh kusa grass spread under the tree and smiled gently. It was under this tree that he had discovered many important insights in deep meditation. Now the long-awaited moment was drawing near. The gate to the great path was about to open. Without hurrying and without delay, Siddhartha slowly sat down in the full lotus posture. He looked at the distant river, quietly flowing as the light breeze brushed the grass along its banks. The night forest was calm, yet still very alive around him, with thousands of insects calling. He brought his awareness to his breathing and gently closed his eyes. The evening star appeared on the horizon. Suffering vanished. Everything was different. Through continuous mindful awareness of each moment, Siddhartha's mind, body, and breathing became completely one. His practice of mindfulness had given him great concentration. He used this concentration to contemplate his body and mind. Entering very deep meditation, he could perceive the countless beings that existed within his body at that moment. Organic and inorganic, minerals, moss, insects, animals, and humans. He saw that all other beings were also himself. He saw his own past lives and the countless cycles of birth and death. He saw the formation and destruction of countless stars and worlds. He felt the joys and sorrows of all living beings born from the womb, from eggs, from moisture, and through transformation. He saw that every cell in his body contained the entire universe, extending across past, present, and future. At that time, it was the first watch of the night. Gautama entered an even deeper state of meditation. He saw the rising and passing away of countless worlds. He saw the endless births and deaths that all beings go through. He saw that these births and deaths were only appearances, not ultimate reality. Just like billions of waves rising and falling on the surface of the ocean, the ocean itself does not fall into birth and death. If the waves can realize that they are in fact water, then they can go beyond birth and death and no longer be afraid, and they will find peace and stability. This realization allowed Gautama himself to go beyond the net of birth and death. He smiled. His smile was like a flower blooming in the depth of the night, radiating a gentle halo of light. It was the smile of deep insight, the smile that knows all afflictions can be completely ended. This was the realization he attained during the second watch of the night. Just then, thunder suddenly sounded. Huge flashes of lightning tore across the sky, as if splitting it in two. Heavy black clouds covered the moon and stars, and soon a torrential rain poured down. Gautama was soaked through, but he did not move at all. He continued his meditation, completely unmoved. He turned the light of awareness toward his own mind. He saw that beings fall into suffering because they do not understand that, in truth, they are one with all things. This ignorance produces endless sorrow, anxiety, and confusion. Ignorance is the root of greed, anger, arrogance, doubt, jealousy, and fear. When we learn to calm the mind and look deeply into reality, we can understand things fully. Then we can transform our suffering into compassion and love. Gautama now realized that understanding and love are one. Without understanding, true love is impossible. Every person's situation is the result of the conditions of their body, mind, and society. When we see this clearly, we cannot hate even the cruelest person. We only wish to help them improve their physical, mental, and social conditions. True understanding of everything gives rise to compassion and love, which in turn lead to right action. To truly offer love, we must first truly understand. Therefore, deep understanding is the key to liberation. To gain this clear understanding, we must pay attention in our daily life, directly experiencing life in each present moment, and seeing clearly what is happening inside and around us. Training ourselves in continuous mindfulness helps us see into the very core of all things, leaving them no place to hide. This is the treasure of mindfulness. It can lead us to liberation and complete awakening. The light of life depends on right view, right thinking, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Siddhartha called these the noble path. Looking deeply into all beings, he could now see the thoughts in everyone's mind. Wherever they were, he could hear the cries of every being, whether in sorrow or in joy. At the same time, he attained the heavenly eye, the heavenly ear, and other spiritual powers, such as the ability to come and go without obstruction. By now, the third watch of the night was almost over. The thunder and lightning had stopped. The clouds rolled away. The bright moon and stars reappeared in the sky. Gautama felt that the prison that had confined him for countless lifetimes had suddenly broken open. Ignorance was the jailer who had imprisoned him. All along, his mind had been covered by ignorance, like the stars and moon hidden by storm clouds. Because his mind had been constantly blocked by waves of deluded thoughts, consciousness had mistakenly divided reality into subject and object, self and other, existence and non-existence, life and death, and so on. From these dualistic distinctions arose distorted views, attachment to feelings, craving, grasping, and the prison of becoming and existence. The suffering of birth, aging, sickness, and death only made the walls of the prison thicker. The only way out is to seize the jailer, see his true face, and end his power. This jailer is ignorance. Once ignorance is destroyed, the prison naturally collapses and can never be rebuilt. Gautama smiled and whispered to himself, "O jailer who has imprisoned me, now I see you clearly. How many lifetimes have you locked me in the prison of birth and death? But from this moment on, you will never again be able to build a prison around me." He lifted his head and saw the morning star appear on the horizon. shining like a great diamond. He had seen this star many times before under the Bodhi tree, but this morning it was as if he were seeing it for the first time. Its radiant brilliance was like the joyful smile of complete enlightenment. Siddhartha gazed at the star. Boundless compassion arose in his heart, and he sighed softly. All beings, he thought, carry the seed of awakening, but through countless lifetimes, we have been drowned in the vast ocean of birth and death. He knew that he had found the great path and reached his goal. His heart was peaceful and free. Flowing out of his enlightenment was a deep love for all beings. He recalled his years of searching, the disappointments and hardships he had gone through. He thought of his father, mother, aunt, Nasajara, Rahula, and his friends. He remembered the palace, the city of Kapilavastu, his people and his country, and all those living in suffering and poverty, especially the children. He made a vow to himself that he would share his discovery with everyone, so that they could be freed from suffering. From his awakening flowed an immense love for all beings. On the grassy bank of the river, bright little flowers were blooming in the morning sunlight. Sunlight danced on the leaves and on the surface of the water. All his suffering had vanished. The wondrous truth of life was completely revealed. Everything seemed amazingly fresh. How beautiful the blue sky and white clouds are. He felt as if he and the entire universe had just been created anew. At that moment, the young cowherd Celesti appeared. Seeing the boy running toward him, Siddhartha smiled. Celesti suddenly stopped, his mouth wide open, staring at Siddhartha in amazement. Celesti, Siddhartha called. The boy woke up and answered, Master. He put his palms together and bowed. After taking a few steps forward, he once again stared at Siddhartha in wonder. Feeling a little embarrassed by his own reaction, he stammered, Master, you look so different today. Siddhartha motioned for him to come closer and took him into his arms. How am I different today? He asked. Looking at him, Celesti replied, It's hard to say, you're just different. You look like a star. You look like a newly opened lotus, and also like the moonlight on the top of Mount Gaya. Looking into Celesti's eyes, Siddhartha said, What's this, Celesti? You're a poet. Now tell me, why are you here so early today, and where are your buffalo? Celesti explained that he didn't need to graze the buffalo that day, because all the water buffalo were already working in the fields. Only the milk cows were left in the cowshed. His only job that day was to cut fresh grass. He said that the night before, he and his younger siblings had been woken by the thunder. Rain had poured through the holes in their broken roof and soaked their beds. They had never seen such a fierce storm, and they were worried about Siddhartha alone in the forest. The children had huddled together until the storm passed, then finally fallen asleep again. At daybreak, Celesti had run to the cowshed, picked up his sickle and carrying pole, and rushed into the forest to see if Siddhartha was safe. Siddhartha held Celesti's hand and said, Today is the happiest day of my life. If you can, bring all the children here under the Bodhi tree this afternoon to see me. Don't forget to bring your younger brothers and sisters. Now, go and cut some kusa grass for the buffalo, he added. Celesti left, so happy that he skipped and jumped as he went. Siddhartha, though, began to walk slowly along the sunlit riverbank, each step gentle and mindful. That's the end of today's story from the life of the Buddha. See you next time.